What's up, y'all? So, I'm just now leaving work, and while I was at work today, I ended up watching a little bit of Donald Trump Jr. on The View. And The View isn't a show that I would watch by no means whatsoever, but I was interested because it was kind of viral a little bit. And so what I liked about it is how Donald Trump handled essentially those women. So those women, besides Meghan McCain, is essentially very far leftist Democrats, and I have said repeatedly I'm more of a center right type of an individual. And so whenever I noticed that they couldn't combat his points and they just kept on trying to either shush the crowd or change the subject, then it just basically proved his point that there is a strong bias in the media today. And by there being such a crazy bias, people are not getting the full view. If they only present side A and not side B, then you're going to have the whole public, people essentially all on one side. And dude, it's crazy on how if he does something like, supposedly he released the name of the whistleblower, even though it's been out for 5 days on the Drudge Report and different other programs, then it's apparently a problem. Because he does it. But when it's public information and nobody's reading about it, and see, that's the problem, because he has a certain stature and people know him because he's the president's son. If he says something about it, then it's big news. But if it's just out there in the open where nobody's looking for it, then it doesn't matter. And so, him just going on there and just basically owning Whoopi Goldberg, owning Joy Behar, who says that I was a proud black woman, but then she tries to claim that she wasn't using blackface. To me, that seems like you exactly was using blackface. You're not black. You went to a party as a black woman, which is crazy. Like, why is that a costume? Like, well, I just want to go as a black woman. Why? Why don't you be yourself or find something else? No, this is a costume. It's a representation. Like, you can be yourself. And Whoopi Goldberg, when she had those infamous lines, well, it wasn't rape. He didn't rape her to the sense. He just kind of drugged her and fucked her, which is crazy. And so, I definitely like conservative talking points more than Democratic talking points, because Democratic talking points are always about what you feel and not necessarily what the facts and evidence is. Facts and evidence only matters when it fits their agenda. If it doesn't fit your agenda, then we're not going to listen to it. Well, I feel that was wrong. Well, you can feel however you want to feel. I've dealt with females who's been in a very, very feel type mentality, and those are the hardest people to get along with, because their feelings dictate everything, and they don't actually view things sometimes objectively. You can't always be objective. You can't always be in your feelings. You have to have a moderate. You have to have a middle. And so whenever there's not a middle, there's no grounds, because I don't try to be biased in my information. I try to listen to both sides instead of just always viewing the same thing over and over. And so, yeah, Donald Trump Jr. went on there. He killed it. His dad, Trump, he's a fighter, man. That's one thing about Trump, which is so ironic. Black people love the Dave Chappelle skit when he did Black Bush. If you look at the Black Bush skit and you look at Donald Trump, it's like the same people. If Donald Trump was black, they would say that he's the hardest ninja who ever was. Donald Trump's mentality is what black people wanted out of Obama, to be honest. Somebody who would fight back. Couples don't always get along. Like, dude, that look that everybody's just always in love and people don't swat people's hands. Like, man, get off me. I need some space. Dude, that's real. Donald Trump and his wife, it's a realistic relationship in my point of view. There was a point where she slapped his hand and people were like, oh, she's dissing the president. She's dissing her husband. I'm like, dude, there's times when I was married. I'm like, I don't want to be, get off me. And probably times that she didn't want me to be on her. That's life. And so he's a fighter. He fights back. And I actually, I'm glad that he is in office right now, because I think that keeps other countries who kind of wanted to start testing the U.S., especially with Obama's strategic on North Korea, his strategic patience, which is basically like, I'm not gonna touch that. You know, Trump was like, Rocky Man, you better sit down, or if you try us, we will blow you off the oblivion of the earth. And that's just like, hey, that's what you want to hear out of the leader of your country. He's not politically correct. He's an outsider, and he acts like an outsider, and his son is basically following his footsteps. One thing as a father that I like is when a son goes and like, that's my dad, and I'm gonna defend my dad. That is the true sign of an actual loving father. When your children get out there and be like, nah, you ain't gonna talk about my dad like that. I'm gonna go up here and I'm gonna defend my father, and I'm gonna be the best father that I can be, or I'm gonna be the best son that I can be to my father, because my father did the best that he could for me, and I'm gonna use this opportunity. So that's my rant. Dude, people who watch The View and they say they're an opinion-based show, I don't know about opinion. They seem more like propaganda than anything else. They're a propaganda show, and you shouldn't get your information from The View, to be honest. There's plenty of people who are kind of non-biased that I like. I like Tim Cast. Sometimes I might watch the Joe Rogan. Sometimes I might watch Ben Shapiro, and I'm not going to agree with everything they say, but I do like hearing different points of view and then coming up to my own conclusion. So anyways, that's my point. That's what I wanted to put out there, and I'll be putting some more videos up soon. Peace.